Glenn, do me a favor. Get my book off the desk there for me, please. I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Welcome back from Thanksgiving break 2012. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. We're looking at lesson 54 today. And this lesson has to deal with reducing by grouping factors equal to 1 and dividing fractions. And if you don't know what that means, you're going to know what that means in just a minute here. So what we're talking about is this idea of taking fractions and equivalent fractions possibly, and then reducing. And by reducing, we wind up with as few numbers as possible that we have to multiply or divide. So your book calls this a new concept, but of course we all know that in fact it's not really a new concept at all for you by now. But this is what we're talking about. We're talking about taking something like this. Here's our problem. We have 2 times 2 times 3. Oh, hang on. How'd that get up there? Times 3 times 5. And we're dividing that all by 2 times 2 times 3. Alright, now look it. We can do this long form and we can multiply all this out. So just corally answer these questions for me. What is 2 times 2? Hello? Okay, what is 4 times 3? What's 12 times 5? 60. Okay, what's 2 times 2? Times 3? Okay, so you agree that that becomes 60 over 12. I can reduce that to what? Yes. 60 divided by 12 is 5. Let me show you another way that we can do that problem. And I'm going to rewrite it here to, well, let me change the color actually, so there's no confusion. We're doing a different problem now, so not a different problem, but a different way. We got 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 divided by 2 times 2 times 3. Alright guys, one way we can do this and be able to do it differently is by taking out the like terms. I think this green will work. So when we have 2 over 2, isn't that the same thing as saying 1? Would you agree? 2 over 2 is 1. So I can make this a 1. And then I have a 2 over 2 again, so I can make that a 1, can't I? And then I have a 3 over 3, right? I can make that a 1, right? So what's 1 times 1? Times 1 times 5. See that? All right, look, another way we can do this. Right? If the 2 and the 2 is 1, and any number times 1 is going to be itself, right? Can I just erase that 1 and get rid of it? And then 2 over 2 is 1. Can I erase that and get rid of it? And then 3 over 3 is 1. I can erase that. And what do I have left? 5. See how easy that is? That makes sense? All right. Going to clear this out. And we're going to go on to our next problem, our first example problem. And here's what it wants us to do. I'm going to write this down for you. I'm going to channel like that color. It wants us to reduce this fraction. It wants us to reduce this fraction. And the fraction it wants us to reduce is 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 divided by 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. All right, so Skylar, how do I do this? What can I do here? Okay, so hang on. Let me go with you here. We're going to make that a 1. Huh? Why would I do that? Why can't I make 5 over 5 a 1? Well, I should. That's what I did over here, right? All right. All right, so now I have 1 times 1 times 2 times 1. What's my answer here going to be? On top, 2. What's my answer on the bottom going to be? 3. There's my answer, right? Everybody agree with that? Everybody see that? Any problems? Yes.
Hi, Dr. Kropchak. Is this Mrs. Jacobson?
Yes, hi.
Do you have the 6th grade boys with you?
I do.
Okay, can you please let them know that they are going to be coming to the music room today instead of Tech Lab?
Okay, they can hear you. I have you on speaker, so.
Good morning, boys. We're coming to music today instead of Tech for the whole week.
For the whole week. So you guys know where you're going then, right? Now there's only 4 boys. 3 of them are out today, just so you know.
Right, okay. Well, I'll take what I can get.
I hear you.
But just send them on down to the music room. And that means you guys have more time to go to the restroom before you get here. So make sure you do that. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So I'm going to erase that, clear that out. I'm going to clear that out. There we go. And we're going to go to our next example. Our next example asks us this question. I'm going to write it down for you. It says, how many 1/2s are in 3/4? How many 1/2s are in 3/4? Now, do you guys understand when it asks me a question like that? Can you automatically say I got to do some division here? How many halves are in, right? Are in means going into. So I'm going to take 3/4 to set this math problem up. I'm going to have 3/4 divided by 1/2. Does everybody see why I did it that way? Because we want to put how many halves go into 3/4, and this is what I'm doing. 3/4 divided by 1/2, which if I were to write it, and I would never do this, but if I were to write it, it would be 1/2 divided by 3/4, which is what I'm showing here, right? 1/2 divided by 3/4. Okay, so that's how we're setting it up mentally anyway. Now, the thing is, when we have division and we'll have fractions like this, do you remember what the rule of thumb is, how to set this up? What is it, Ben? You multiply. You multiply. So we take our 3/4 and then we use, when we change the sign, see the sign goes from division to multiplication. When you change the sign, you got to change the fraction. So instead of divided by 1/2, it's multiplied by 2 over 1. Everybody see that? And then we do the math, and we get 6 over 4. And we want to know how many 1/2s are in 3/4, so I make this a mixed number, and I'm going to get 1 and 1/2. Everybody see that? 1 and 1/2. 1 and 1/2. So how many halves are in 3/4? 1/2 and then a half of a half is in 3/4. 1 and 1/2. Everybody see that? Any questions, guys? Okay. Huh? Well, basically, but it's 1 1/2. It's a quarter. It's a quarter, but it's asking about how many halves. So there's 1 and 1/2 halves in 3/4. All right, so I'm going to erase that and take us to our next and I think final example. And now it's asking this question. Let me change colors here a little bit. It wants to know how many 3/4 are in 1/2. Just reversed it, right? We set it up the same way. We're going to have 1/2. Oops, I'm sorry. 3/4. We're doing it reversed. Wait a minute. Okay. How many 3/4 are in 1/2? So it's going to be 3/4 divided by 1/2. And then, of course, I'm making that 3/4. I'm changing my sign. I got to change my number to 2 over. Hang on. What am I doing? No, I'm setting this up the wrong way, aren't I? Wow, I am. Yep. My mistake. Sorry about that, guys. Forget everything I just said. Let me erase all that. You guys see me making a mistake, man, let me know. It's okay. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Okay, how many 3/4 are in 1/2? Okay, so what we're actually doing is we're taking the 1/2 and we're dividing it by 3/4, right? 3/4 divided by 1/2. So we write that out. It's 3/4 divided by 1/2. Doing the same thing. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my gosh. It's Monday. Sorry guys. Yeah, right? I know. I know. It'd be so much easier. Alright, let's try this again. Let me get my pen. How many 3/4 are in 1/2? So, when it's asking me that question, how many 3/4 are in 1/2? Um, you know what I'm doing? The reason why I'm doing this wrong, by the way. Anybody know why I did this wrong? Yeah, exactly. But why? What? You know, why? What's the mental mistake I was making there? Huh? Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be how many? So it's exactly. It's supposed to be 1/2 divided by 3/4. Because it's asking me how many 3/4 go into 1/2, right? How many 3/4? So when I do this, what's my rule? I start with my 1/2, I change my sign, and when I change my sign, I have to change my fraction, right? So it's going to be 4/3, and now we're going to have 4/6. I can reduce that down to what? 2/3, right? Everybody see that? So how many 3/4 are in 1/2? 2/3 of a 3/4 are in 1/2. You know 3/4 are bigger. You know, if you have this problem over here, guys, 3/4 is what to 1/2? What would the answer be? Greater than, less than, or equal to? Greater than. So you know 3/4 is greater than 1/2, right? So if this number is greater and we're dividing it into this, the number's got to be less than 1, right? This number would have to be 3/4 for this to be equal to, for it to be 1, a whole number. So this is going to be less than 1, and 2/3 is less than 1, so we know the answer is right. Does that make sense? Okay. Is 2/3 of 3/4 1/2? Yeah, has to be. Because you're asking, all right, guys, then we're done with today's lesson. So you can start on your homework. And guys that were not in class today, sorry about that little confusion there. Just had a little brain cramp. First class of the day after a little vacation. My mind got messed up, but we're good. We got it all figured out. So if you have any questions, see me when you come back to school, and we'll see you in class.